Hey guys, Eric Bramlett here, and I don't generally like these sort of stream of consciousness videos, but I've been thinking about the Zillow versus Compass fight over exclusive listings and maximum exposure, and two things keep sticking out, and I wanted to share. And the first is that both positions are incredibly self-serving, and they're framed as pro-consumer, but I don't think that's the main goal of either organization. And the second is that I don't think that Zillow can actually do this because of some data feed agreements that are in place. So I think that's also very interesting. But first, the sort of self-serving element to this, I'm incredibly pro-consumer. And I've learned over the years that whenever you focus on what's best for the consumer, what's best for your clients, everything kind of works out. And most of the time, whenever we see these sort of self-serving efforts, they usually don't work out. So at the end of the day, like I do think the markets work through this. I think the market kind of works itself out. But to look at it, I think we have to put this on the table that, Zillow obviously wants as many listings as they can possibly get on their website because that's how they monetize. Like they get leads, they either monetize them through their Flex program, meaning that they're actually earning commission on it, or they monetize them by selling them directly to agents through the Premier Agent program. And if there are fewer listings on Zillow, that literally hits their bottom line, and that means that they're going to earn less money. Now they're saying that, oh, it's best for the consumer to have maximum exposure, and I don't disagree with that, but I do disagree with some of their rhetoric, namely that there's never a reason to have a pocket listing. On the flip side, you have Compass, who says, oh, consumers need maximum choice. There's all these good reasons to pre-market listings, which I totally agree with. Like there are definitely lots of scenarios where it makes sense to float a listing out there pre-market. But what I don't agree with is that you shouldn't, maximize that exposure while you're pre-marketing it. I see no scenario where it makes sense to say, hey, we have this great pre-market listing, but I'm only going to market it to a percentage of the agent population. In Austin, for example, Compass has between 5 and 10% market share. Why would you possibly limit your exposure to only 5 to 10% of the agents in Austin if you have this great pre-market listing? Well, the reason that Compass wants to do that is that it's a very great sort of lead magnet, right? So you can capture more consumers. Hey, we have the secret list of listings. You can retain and recruit more agents. Hey, we have the secret list of listings. So it's incredibly self-serving. I think that it is bad advice to the consumer to say, hey, we're going to pre-market your listing and only to our office. I just don't see any scenario where that makes sense. With that out of the way, that these are kind of self-serving, position, the big thing that I can't get out of my head is that I don't think Zillow can do this at all, right? They're saying that if you pre-market a listing, they will not display it on Zillow. And I don't want to get too into the weeds on this, but I kind of have to. Zillow gets all of their data from the MLS. So you input the listing into the MLS, it then feeds to Zillow. And it does that by way of what's called a VOW feed, a VOW, a virtual office website. Now, what's interesting about this is that the VOW feed was created in 2008 because of a DOJ settlement between NAR and the Department of Justice. So these rules were created by the DOJ, and they were created actually back in the 2000s to protect companies like Zillow. Back then, there were a lot of brokerages that said, we don't want to give our data to these online brokerages. They were threatened by them, and they said, we only want to display these on our friends. We only want to do business the way we've always done it. And DOJ said, no, guys, that's anti-competitive. You can't do that. And they created the VOW feed, and they created rules around it. And one of the rules that they created was that you cannot have what's called selective display of listings. That means that, well, you can filter based on objective criteria like price, location, things like that. If Compass said, hey, I'm not going to show Bramlett Partners listings on our website because I don't like the way they do business, the VOW feed rules will say, sorry, you can't do that. If you do that, then you're going to lose your VOW feed. Zillow is a brokerage, whole other topic that I think they act a whole lot like a brokerage. They actually earn commission, but that's how they get their data. They're a member of in Austin, the Austin Board of Realtors, they're a member of Unlock MLS, and they get all their data through the VOW feed. And that means that they've agreed to all the VOW rules, one of which is that they can't have selective display of listings, and that's where they get their data. So if they break these rules by the rules that are put in place, they will lose their VOW feed. Now, they're huge. Obviously, they're one of the largest companies in the space. If you view them as a brokerage, they're arguably the largest brokerage in the United States, but they have to play by the same rules. If that's how they want to collect their data, that's how they have to play by the rules. That is the reason why I think that they just can't do this. And this seems to be missed. I'm not sure why, but I think it needs to kind of enter the conversation. I think we all kind of need to look at this and go, does Zillow get to play by a different set of rules? And if the answer is no, then I don't know, man. Like, I don't think that this strategy works. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. It's really interesting to me. I'm kind of a, real estate nerd. I'm kind of a tech nerd, but am I missing anything? I don't know. So I'd love to hear from y'all. Thank you.